How many guys does it take to do what the one guy did by himself on YouTube?
Okay guys, we're in the shop today and we're looking at a brand new set of R.J.W.C mud duals, and we're also going to be doing the header pipe. We have the R.J.W.C fuel tuner, so we can get rid of our lean condition and start tuning this thing properly. And we're going to be trying out some exhaust wrap. So we're going to start with that. It'll be a little different, I would suspect. A lot of guys are running these, so I'm pretty excited to see how this changes the Outlander. So we already have a test fit. So we did one layer on it. We learned how these bands work and everything, and then we used the high temp silicone coating. It's to stop the wrap from basically rotting from mud and heat on your pipes. So we gave that a whirl, and I think we've got it half figured out. It's more about function and fixing this lean condition. So now we're going to move on to another pipe. We're kind of tackling the easier ones as we go. So this wrap kit here, what we do is, I've heard a couple ways of doing it. Basically starting it off by folding triangles or folding it over about a ½ inch and starting that way. You make sure there's no frayed ends and stuff like that. And we already measured all the tubes, so right here is going to be your actual collar. That's going to cinch the pipes down, so we left that open. So we know we're going to start from here and work as high up as we can, but there's things in the way like this bung here. So we can't quite go past this because I don't know how much clearance I'm going to have to be putting bolts in, so some of this is going to stay open, but it's not a big deal. So we're going to have another go at this. You definitely need a buddy for this. It probably can be done, but
Bobby's our buddy today.
yeah, we've got Bobby in. So you kind of have to start doing the overlap right away. I wouldn't worry too much about getting it as tight as possible right away, because afterwards you can actually twist on it and tighten it up at the end before you actually cinch it down with those cables. So we're gonna try and obviously alleviate some of the issue by just doing a little bit as we go, and we'll see if Bobby's forearms last. I know at least one of them will.
One done. My left one.
That's a joke. That's funny. I don't know how much of the audience look at that, but
Our American people will get it.
so you definitely have to keep in mind with bends and kinks in the tube. It's not something you can get down quite perfect. You just have to make sure you have the coverage and hope for the best. But oops, that's not good. Let Bobby roll that up. One of those clamps we'll get on after he rolls that up. I think another thing we were suggested by looking at videos is just using a zip tie as a placeholder and then use these stainless steel clamps because they're about $1 million a bag.
If you want to get a zap tie,
Luckily, a friend of mine has a ton of them, and I'm not even sure why. He just leads a mysterious life. So we'll just have the zip tie there as a bit of a placeholder, and then we'll be able to run this. Hopefully we have enough on this roll to actually do it. It's not, oh yeah, I think we'll do it just fine. Yeah, so when you're dealing with the kinks, it's kind of messing with everything else, but just try to get it as tight as possible. Oh my. It's starting to get...
Loose.
Really loose. Bit of a workout.
It'd be like Popeye at the end.
These Outlanders definitely run hot, so this will pay off in the end. Not a big deal.
Well, yeah, especially at, what, 300 degrees?
Yeah, we measured it with my temp gun, and the header pipe was running over 300 degrees Celsius, so. This ended up being quite perfect, actually. So if we get another zip tie, I got this. Just as a bit of a placeholder.
Okay.
I'm gonna get Bobby to hold this end right here. And like I said, you can kind of give it a bit of a twist and it cinches right down on everything. And that'll change the end state. Once you got that good roll, and then your buddy holds everything down, you got a bit of a placeholder, crank that down, and then just one last check. Try to cinch as much of this. Again, it's not something that can quite turn out pretty, you know, if you tackle this yourself. Unless you really take your time with it, but I mean, that's not so bad. So what we'll end up doing now is taking some of these bands. I'm acting like an expert, but I literally just learned how to do this like 10 minutes ago. These are the stainless steel bands that are provided with the wrap kit from Dirty Life. And basically it's a stainless steel zip tie essentially. There is a tool that you actually need to use to bring these through and tighten them down and cinch them as much as possible. But we found if you hold one side with a flathead screwdriver and then grab the other side with a needle nose pliers, and you can just kind of roll it through exactly like the design tool is supposed to do. So we'll do that next.
Best shock dog ever. Yeah, you're the best. Yeah, you are. Who's a good boy? Yeah, you're pretty sweet. You're happy. Good boy, Diesel.
Wow. So he's cutting the zip tie that we used as a placeholder. Now that everything's tight, I'm going to get him to slip over the actual stainless one. Kind of follow along. So because of the overlap, he's going to go along this second run. And that way it'll cinch everything down underneath it and have it grabbing onto pretty much everything.
I'm gonna get uncomfortably close here.
I would imagine.
I'm like on his finger.
Like that?
Okay, yeah. Like I said, with these, oh, there goes a chunk of my glove. Quality Chinese made.
Yeah, easy now. CF Moto.
Right.
Right.
It's made out of that Chinesium.
Chinesium.
Yeah. So now that stainless tool or band is all tight. We're good to go that way. And because we have some extras outside of the kit from the place we shall not mention, we'll probably throw a couple on there just for good faith. And that's basically how that's done. So we'll continue on with some more intricate stuff afterwards. Where basically the two heads meet up. This Y pipe will be pretty tricky. I think we'll end up doing it in like 3 pieces. So once that's done, we basically spray it down, we let it cure, and then we go to install. So now we're going to move away from our expensive truck.
It's a nice truck though.
What we have here is the high temp silicone. One of the problems with this stuff is mud gets on it, and it's doing its job, but the mud tends to rot this stuff out. So it could be potentially bad for your pipe in the long term, even though we're fixing a lean condition. So what we're gonna do is use this high temp silicone coating that was included with the wrap kit. And this kind of gives it a bit of a barrier against the mud and the condensation and things like that. So you just give that a good layer. Watch out, puppy. It's kind of like a mix of a barbecue paint and like a Line-X high temp stuff. So just kind of keep everything off, and it seals it all up, and we're gonna see how this does over time, I'm sure. Like I said, it's all about function. I know I'm gonna get some spray all over the pipes and stuff like that, but just like I did there. The only thing that has to look good is the pipes right out the end. We're gonna do 2 layers of this, let it cure for a couple of days, just because I'm a bit paranoid that way. Let everything kind of find its place. And there you go. You can kind of see that it kind of fills all the voids and seals it up really well. So I'm excited to see this in the end state. And see if we can drop this thing down from 300 degrees to something below molten lava. Come on, Diesel.
Hi. How many guys does it take to do what the one guy did by himself on YouTube? A lot.
A lot.
Okay.
Spirit fingers.
Did you have jazz hands?
Jazz hands. Jazz hands.
There's a difference.
Okay, that worked. Okay, well,
That worked good, yeah.
Jazz hands is more like this. Spirit fingers is like this. Don't get it wrong again.
don't get it wrong again. Try not to elbow Scott.
Okay, that should do it.
That should do.
Should. There you go.
Everyone let go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so we've got as far as we can get on the wrap. I think it's perfect because right here is actually the heat shield, and I want to show off some of these beautiful welds on the stainless. So I think this is perfect. I only taped off this section because you can actually see it. As far as the other pieces, some of them were quite difficult when it come to, you know, different Ys and things like that on the heads. But we ended up getting it done, and this portion is more function, so we didn't worry about taping anything off or whatever. So we've got our spray on there to resist any moisture and stuff like that that'll break down the headers. So they're all just kind of curing now. So those are all done. Okay, guys, so it's a whole other day. I had these pipes sprayed down, and they're all cured now. It asked for 24 hours. I gave it 48. So they're all wrapped solid, and I gotta say, after that spray, it turns out rock solid. So you can see my Y pipe and the other piston pipe there, and I think it's gonna do very well. I'm excited to see how this works out and see if we get some temperature changes compared to what I had on the Yoshi with the stock header. So we have our duals. This is actually the slip-on you would get if you just wanted the slip-on. Here's the Y pipe for the piston basically underneath the seat, and this is the pipe for the one a little more forward. Now if you have a long frame like the 1000 Outlander or any Max edition, you get this extension here that basically just slips in here, and it gives you that extra length you need to cover off the frame. So this is pretty much exactly how much longer your bike is when you get the 1000 Outlander XMR. So it just makes up for the distance here so that I can have a legal up seat. The 850s are basically cut right here with no racing pegs and stuff like that. So I'm basically going to start tearing down, which I think I can get away with the seat, bin, your generic plastics here, here, and here, and I'll have to do that on the opposite side also, probably. Just because I heard some of these bolts are pretty hard to get at, especially 2 of them. And then I'll start by taking off the Yoshimura slip-on. I suspect that some of these bolts are going to be pretty angry about coming out, so I might need some lubrication, maybe heat, a couple pry bars, that kind of thing. Just because of the water and mud that gets on these and heat up and cool down and all that. I don't treat this bike very nicely, so I don't expect for it to not put up a fight. But I'm going to start getting at that. It's all pretty simple. I don't think I need to tell you guys exactly how this works. Like these plastics, honestly, are just a bunch of pull tabs and I think 1 Phillips, and you'll have complete access to the top end here. So I'm going to start by doing that and then gauging what happens next.